let's talk about data. Now, when you create any of these applications in other tools or in forms, you end up having a backend storage location where the data is stored, which could be a database, or it could be a spreadsheet, or it could be anything else. Now, Zorp, each workflow you create comes with its own database. Okay, so you can see the complete database when you click on data model. So here you'll have two kinds of data points. So number one is the system level data. That means each workflow comes with its own some system level information, and all those things will be accessible to you to use in your application. For example, there are three types. There is task, logged in user, and company. Task has all the task specific, the task you're executing, that specific information, like what is the time it was created, what is the status it is in, which user is working on it, and team, or so many other things, right? Second, it also gets a context of the user who has logged in and using the application, like who is using the phone to do the task, their information, like what is ID, their phone number, even their current location if they have given the location access. So all this information will be available during runtime for you. Now the third one is company level information, where you can use a company name. You can also use time zones. Time zones in the sense, if you have people working in the US, or you have people working in Brazil, you'll be able to set the time zones in the company settings. We will see how to do that, and you'll be able to access the time zones in your application. So that is also possible. The last one, which is special, is secret keys. Secret keys are where you can store your API credentials or tokens, etc., which are very sensitive information in Zorp, which will not be accessible by anybody after you have saved it, including Zorp or including yourself. You will not be able to access information. The information will be completely secure, and you can access them via the keys. So you can, wherever you use the keys, inherently the application will substitute it with the actual value you have actually stored, so that it is completely secured from any kind of misuse. So these are the default information, system level information that you have available. Apart from this, you also have this portion called data. So data is where your custom fields get added. Okay, now if you remember in some of the previous videos, if I open any of this page, let's say I want to save the data to a particular data field, this data needs to be stored in a custom data field. So if you have one, you can actually save it, or if you don't have one, you can create one. So this is, say, user input, and I hit create. Now a new data field called user input will be created. Now if I go back to the data model, I can see that there is a new field called user input of the type text that is actually created. So that is one way of creating these fields. The other way is just to create a new data field from here. You give a temporary name, test data, and you have multiple types. So the important thing to know over here is that you can only use specific information in specific places. For example, if there is an image field, or if you are capturing an image, that image can be stored only in image type of field. You obviously can't store it in text. The same way, if you want to display a text information, you can only show text or number. You can't show an image or a signature or a file, right? So those kind of things will be conditions will be automatically applied by Zorp. So when you create the field, you can choose specific type of fields. So number is your typical numbers and floats. Text is any kind of string. Location is a special kind of a field where you can store address, latitude, and longitude, all three of them. If you only give address, the system automatically will take care of converting them into lat long, and if you give lat long, the system will take care of converting it into address. So that's a capability Zorp automatically has. You have a boolean, which is either true or false. You have date, which is date and time. You have list of text, where if you are adding multiple like checkbox, like multi-select options, you can use list of text. Image is images, signature is signature, and files is of multiple file types. So these are the different options you have available. Now, apart from this, while we spoke about how information collected can be stored into a data field, let's also see how information which is already in the data field can be inputted. Okay, so for example, if I have a text input option, instead of the text label, I can show the data from my data fields. Like here, I can show that this is, let's say, user input. So water information entered. So this will show up as text label followed by the user in whatever data is stored under the user input field in your data set. So that will be shown automatically. So this is how you can read and show information. Not only in the UI, you can also use the data fields in automation. So that's something we will see in the future videos. So hopefully this was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video.